What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about NIO, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what came out associated to NIO itself, and why there might be some big news coming. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO went down 0.51%, 392 the low, 406 the high, and you did see a lot of good volume. So 38.08 million shares being traded, 37.6 is the average. And so I'm going to talk on that a little bit later in the video, but NIO actually did put out news early this morning, and that was them announcing the date of their Q1 2025 earnings. So it is slated for June 3rd, and it is going to be at 8 a.m. So bright and early, which is kind of a good thing. It is going to be 8 p.m. Beijing, Hong Kong time. But nonetheless, though, market really liked this. So they did put out this news at 5:30, and it was getting a lot of good volume during the pre-market. And even during the trading day, it really did show signs of it wanting to break out. Unfortunately, which I kind of find comical, is it did get dragged down with the broader market, largely because of algorithmic trading. What caused the market to kind of get dragged down was this right here. So the 20-year bond auction, there wasn't that much demand, so they did have to kind of increase the discount rate. And so it came in ultimately selling for 5.1%. So not all that great for a lot of growth stocks. So again, this is American bonds, so essentially there's no real reason why NIO would have got dragged down with the broader market. So I kind of find that rather comical, but I'm going to go over maybe why this is a screaming buying opportunity right now. But you did have shorts return 800,000 shares today. 12.72% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 202.27 million shares overall are being shorted. So by shorts returning, it kind of does go to show that today's pullback wasn't really justified, in my opinion, and that it should have actually closed green all in all. And you can kind of see based on this right here, during that same time frame, shorts were increasing at the moment 1.8 million shares, and as this sell-off kind of started, they took advantage and they kind of returned. So algorithmic trading, they did hide a lot of their transactions through that, which is again rather unfortunate, but at the end of the day, shorts did return. Now it looks like 750,000. So obviously it updates after hours and so forth, but looking at the options, 1.29 million in calls, 1.03 in puts. 40% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature, and it clearly stands out between these two right here. So ultimately between 11.15 and 11.25 is where majority of those bearish options were done. Based on this, 2.3 million in total premiums, 2.7 the day prior, and then 2.2 last week. So it was kind of in line with that. A little bit higher put/call ratio, so something to kind of watch for. But based on the bulls, you do see a consensus for it to be above that 450, at least for pretty much the foreseeable future. Bears for it to be sub 4. So definitely, given everything, there's a lot more upside anticipated. But there was one thing that did happen after hours today that caused a nice little spike. And when we've seen it happen in the past, it usually results in big news coming. And that was this. So these are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. And so you do see 3 consecutive very large orders, one for 3.08, another for 5.82, and then a third for 7.19 million. So at the end of the day, someone was buying. And as much as I'd like to think that the market is perfect and nobody knows information ahead of one or anyone else, that's a lie, because institutions often enough just do transactions, options before news comes out, and it's just not obviously the perfect kind of scenario. But by seeing this and following what data and institutions are doing behind the scenes, it is fair to assume that maybe there might be some big news coming. Maybe in the next couple of trading days. Coming from a data standpoint, there isn't anything coming out from China to really justify that abnormal buying. So at the end of the day, there might be some specific NIO news. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Again, history doesn't always repeat itself, and this just might be a very weird coincidence. 3 random transactions, all in a span of like 30 minutes for the most part. or again, big news might be coming. Every time I have seen this and I've brought this up, usually news does come. So again, something to keep in mind with it. Right now and closing at 394, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 392 is going to be a strong support, kind of bounce off of that general area. So we know going forward, that's a good support. And then 399 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, which in my opinion, again, given all the data points, it does go to show that there is going to be a little bit more upside. So maybe that'll be easily broken tomorrow. So 411 will be the next strong target / resistance. No new analyst ratings, no articles really talking about it today, no speculative things. So it was just honestly reacting to the broader market. On a technical standpoint, it is really close to that 50-day moving average. So that is 404. So it did break above that momentarily today. So that's going to be a key one for it, at least tomorrow, to watch for. Then aside from that, 419 is going to be that 100-day moving average. So I think there is going to be some pretty big things coming with NIO, but then again, we've been kind of in this type of scenario in the past, and just shorts really just double down, increase like 8-10 million, trying to kill obviously NIO's momentum. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. What's your viewpoint, for instance, on their upcoming earnings? Do you think that this is going to be relatively optimistic? Do you think it's going to be bearish? One thing to take note of though, this is the current estimates. So negative 37 cents for the earnings per share, 1.73 billion for the revenue. Over the last 90 days, you have 0 positive and 3 negative revisions to the earnings per share. And ultimately, looks like the earnings per share, negative 43 is the low, negative 23 for the high, and for the revenue, 1.71 billion to 1.75. So revenue is kind of tight knit. So we'll just have to, again, wait and see. That is a good possibility that NIO could really break above that. And on a side note, that 1.73 billion does work out to be 26.45% year-over-year growth. So give yourself a shout out if you did buy today, if you sold. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and get buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.